do 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 do. I gotta get going to take my son to the doctors. We'll see you, Flower Child. Good morning, Tam, Perp, and Trips. Welcome to the broadcast, y'all. There's a require online. I don't think My Sims requires any kind of internet, but I really don't know. Since I've never played it before. I don't think so, though. Is it a single player experience? Okay. All right, here we are. Day 19 of fall, year 1, Hyrule Farm. We're 35 hours into our playthrough, and we have made a ton of progress. A ton of progress. So let's go ahead and break down everything we've accomplished over these past couple episodes. I know the major points for the past couple episodes has been our progress on our farm with our fish ponds, as well as we acquired a horse. We've gotten our full pockets. We have our full inventory. Our community center has been coming along nicely. We got our second legendary fish with the fall legendary fish coming into our grasp. And really, we've just been doing our best to kind of maintain and keep up with our current setup. We have some goals and aspirations to create a little bit more of an organized farm. Things are a little unorganized right now, but that kind of just comes with the territory. We're definitely making good progress where it counts. And we're at the points where we're making about 3,000 to 5,000 gold every day on average. So that's the average. It can be a lot more, it can be a lot less, but it's been good money. All right, let's make some super cucumber bait. I think we're going to start farming for more cave jelly to get more fish smokers. And we were talking about maybe by the end of the year, for the year 1, we're going to maybe buy some coal or some wood. So we do have some plans, some stuff that we have to remember. I'm not going to remember everything right this moment. Trying to keep things organized where it counts. Got me back into Stardew, starting a new farm again. Yo, Cafe Brew, this game is so good. Oh, it looks like we need to go lumberjacking. And we need to start getting our tree farm even better. Our tree farm needs to be even better than it is right now. So let's make a point to get our tree farm going today. I know we were taking tree fertilizer and we were struggling with stone a little bit. I remember we were kind of low on stone in the playthrough, so we need to get into the mines and we need to get farming up stone as much as we can. Do 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 do. All right, and I think we want to do this real quick because I think the game defaults me on this bar and I'd prefer to have this stuff on this bar. I've been playing the river farm and it's been so much fun being creative on how to fit everything. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to enjoy about the river farm the most, is how I'm going to make the farm work visually. I think I'm going to enjoy that a lot. I learned that the magnet bait that you can buy from Willy is expensive, nets more jellies. The magnet bait is good for more jellies? Is that real? The magnet bait, huh? We can craft it. Increases the chance of finding treasures when fishing, but the fish do not like the taste. So we need iron bars to make magnet bait. All right. So let's go ahead and use that strategy to our benefit here. I think we have some iron laying around. Do. Yeah, we have one extra piece right now. I think we're going to go to the mines, so let's go ahead and make a piece of magnet bait. Only 3 at a time is kind of brutal though, right? Yeah, that's like kind of brutal, but you know, it is what it is. Definitely a little on the expensive side, but getting that cave jelly is so important for us that I don't think it matters how expensive it is. I think that's a pretty important thing that we need. Yeah, 1K per at Willy's shop. Dude, I've never fully committed to a playthrough on the beach farm, and I would love to do that. How you doing today, Susha Lucia? Moxie Poxy, welcome to the broadcast as well. If I missed y'all rolling in today, don't be shy to jump in the chat and say good morning. I know I'm still a little distracted today. Remembering how to stream again, and it always takes me a couple days to kind of get reacquainted with streaming again. So the point is I may have missed you rolling in. Don't be shy to say hello. Good to see you and good morning. All right, let's go up to the mines and let's do some fishing and let's do some mining for some stone. Oh, but first we do need to get all of our pots here. So we went with the perk that makes it to where we don't have to bait our crab pots. So while we're still getting a good amount of trash from our crab pots, not having to use bait just really frees up not only time becomes a big part of what we're freeing up. It also just makes this whole process a little bit more bearable. Because I do plan to have a ton of crab pots by the end of this journey. We're going to fill up every possible section of the land with crab pots, or rather the water. So I do intend to have a ton of crab pots kicking, so I think we're going to continue going for the free crab pots, the baitless crab pots for quite a while. All right, off to the beach. And then maybe in the future, we'll spend the 10,000 gold to switch to something else if we feel like we need to. I love jelly time. Ooh, it's Friday. We can go check the traveling merchant. What's up, Tracy? Good morning, Tracy. Welcome to the show. You're getting fish to smoke? Yes, but not that kind of smoke. Here we go. We could buy goat cheese. Don't we need that for the community center? No, I guess we just need regular milk and goat milk. Oh yeah, we are going to drop off this stone here soon. $25K for that. Yeah, I guess goat cheese isn't anything that we need. Yeah, I did the artisan bundle with other stuff. So it was the artisan bundle. So we already did that. So we're good. We're good on the artisan bundle. We could buy a pale ale for Pam. But I don't know if Pam deserves a pale ale. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to jump right out with it. Does Pam really deserve a pale ale? Not sure about that. Nice, we just got our foraging level increased. What's up, Artifice? Good morning. Smoke him if you got him. Yo, Coco winning, good morning. It's been hard for me to find iridium. I made 5 sprinklers. I just got enough for my pickaxe. I haven't gotten past 46, even on good days. So that's the problem. Iridium doesn't really start to spawn until floor 50 of the Skull Caverns. So I got some advice. If you want, Legend, let me know. And I can give you some advice to get past floor 50 to really start your journey of iridium. Iridium is pretty hard to acquire outside of floor 50 plus in the Skull Caverns, and a couple other things that make iridium pretty accessible. The big one being the reward from Grandpa's Shrine. Because if you can successfully get the max level reward from Grandpa's Shrine, then you can get a free iridium every day, a couple pieces that will help sustain your journey. But outside of that, iridium's just not easy to get for anybody. And that's what you have to keep in mind. Iridium's not meant to be easy to get. It's meant to be endgame. But so many of us watch streamers and like YouTubers play the game that we think that iridium should be something that you should be acquiring. Iridium was never meant to be accessible in this game. Keep that in mind. Yes, you get to a point to where iridium is super easy to get your hands on. You see a lot of like end game playthroughs where we're swimming in iridium. Dude, that is not normal, right? Like iridium isn't meant to be something that you're just sitting on at all early. Like it's an end game material meant for end game level playthroughs. So just keep that in mind. It's not something you're supposed to have a lot of, but once you start to get it, it seems to be like a snowball effect. Once you start to get it, you'll get more of it. Yo, we got a raid from Shred Shack Plays. Welcome in, Shred Shack. What's up, Troublesome Violet? What's up, Macaroni and Cheese? Good morning. I am playing on the Switch because of the console update. I also just love playing on the Switch. So any excuse is good for me. What's up, Raiders? How was Gems of War? So Legend Steven Tyler says I'm all ears. So advice. So here we are. Welcome in, Raiders. Advice on getting to floor 50 plus in the Skull Caverns. It goes like this. First off, food. Food. That is the name of the game with the Skull Caverns. Food is the most important thing that will get you through the Skull Caverns as far as you want to go. You need to bring good food. Now, if you're asking, well, what is good food, Sir Hylian, the great king of all the universe and existence? Ho, 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 ho. You don't gotta talk me up like that. Just give me your Twitch Prime and we're good. But anyways, back to it. Really, food is the most important thing, because if you can't eat something that's gonna heal you up super quick, then you're gonna die. So goat cheese in general, regular cow's milk or goat cheese is the best source of early game food for your average player. You need to get acquainted with the cheese game. The next thing is what I call the elixir of life. And the life elixir is easily made with the mushroom cave. And you nom on this bad boy and it heals your HP up 100%. Bingo bongo, you're just full HP. Get yourself a mushroom cave, get yourself a life elixir. The third is salads from Gus. You get to a point in the game where you have a lot of money. Salads only cost 200 gold a pop, 220. You could go and buy yourself 50 salads for a decent investment, and those salads will go a very long way to keeping you healthy in the Skull Caverns. So again, bring good food. Step 1, you need good food. Step 2, luck. Ho ho, is luck a strange mistress? Luck. You need to be checking luck every day before you go to the mines. Here's why. Luck determines the rate at which staircases will appear when you're breaking rocks and killing enemies. You not only need to go on a day that's neutral or higher. I really would not be going into the Skull Caverns unless you're at neutral or higher. I would even argue above neutral. I wouldn't step foot in there unless it says the spirits are kind of okay with you for the day. You need to have good base luck, but it goes further than base luck now, doesn't it? OG Stardew Valley heads. Why don't you tell them, Chad? You also need luck food. You also need luck rings. You need luck. Get yourself some luck. Now, early game, you're not going to have access to a lot of the things that I'm talking about. But your goal should be to get lucky lunches or spicy eel, food that will help you on your journey, because the luck matters, and it matters more than you might be wrapping your head around. You need good luck. So you need to get luck rings, you need spicy eel, or I prefer lucky lunch. I think it's the best food in the game for the mines personally, but a lot of people are big fans of spicy eel. Either way, you need some luck food. Don't sleep on it. It makes a big difference to getting past floor 50 of the mines. So let's recap real quick. Food to heal you, and food to buff you, and hopefully a lucky ring or two as well. You need something, all right? Now the next, and I think one of the most overlooked but simple things, is staircases. Listen, why? You just need to bring 50 staircases and start your run on floor 50. Now you might be saying, well, Hylian, getting staircases is pretty expensive, and oh boy, staircases are very expensive. Here's a little trick for you. Every Sunday in-game, the desert salesman will trade you staircases for jades. Okay, so you go, oh, jades, right? Well, if you didn't know, there's an item in the game, and you can get one of them for free from the community center, where you put a gem in, and every couple days, the gem gets multiplied. You should be stacking those with jades. Every player should be listening to this. Jades, nothing else. Unless you're trying to farm spicy eels with rubies, you should be putting jades in your gem multipliers. Nothing else. Screw diamonds. You don't need money like that. You need jades. And every Sunday you trade the jade in for a staircase. I used to do this. This is how I run all my playthroughs. You do this after a couple seasons in game, you have a couple hundred jades stacked up, and you can get 100 staircases without ever spending stone or money. Done. Show up to the Skull Caverns, drop 50 staircases, start on floor 50. Now, I need to circle back to why floor 50 is important. And then I'm done with how to teach you to Skull Cavern. Floor 50 is when the most amount of iridium starts to spawn. Okay? That's why. Floor 50 is when iridium nodes can start to appear, and that they start to appear at a quantity that is worth your time. And that's why you want to start on floor 50. The truth is you're not going to farm a bunch of iridium before floor 50. It's just not going to happen as efficiently as you would like. So you need to do everything you can to get to floor 50 as soon as possible. So to give you a recap on how to successfully do this, you need to be bringing good equipment with you. I focused on food because I wanted to simplify what I was saying for anybody who wanted to hear it. But the truth is it goes further than just food. You need a good weapon. If you don't have a galaxy weapon, you're already in a bad position for the Skull Caverns. If you have the money, you could buy a weapon from the Explorers League, the Adventurers Guild. But the truth is if you don't get your prismatic shard, and if you don't get your galaxy weapon, you're pretty behind in the Skull Caverns. It's pretty brutal. I really don't recommend being in there without your best weapon, but sometimes the game kind of forces you in without your best weapon, so you kind of have to. Secondly, bombs are huge. Dude, you should be going to the Skull Cavern with as many bombs as possible. Explosive ammo, big bombs, regular bombs, bombs. Because bombs make it to where more rocks are being destroyed. The more rocks being destroyed, the more staircases that have a chance to appear. So if you combine good luck with bombs, you can honestly skip past a lot of floors by putting a single bomb down in an area that's very heavily congested with stone. Boom, it blows up, collect all the stone real quick, jump into the staircase, you're on to the next floor. But don't overlook the versatility of an actual staircase, because there are some floors that you don't want to deal with. The spiral floors, you all know what I'm talking about? Can we get a 1 in the chat if you know how obnoxious the spiral floors are? Why would you ever waste time looking for a staircase on a spiral floor? Don't do that to yourself. Just staircase past it. Those floors are miserable, dude. Those floors suck, man. You don't want to play, just staircase. Go to the next floor. You also don't want to be fighting monsters. So if you get a monster floor, you skip past that too, man. You don't want to be fighting monsters. That sucks. Your whole goal is to get to the next floor so you can get to floor 50 so you can get iridium. You don't want to be fighting nothing, dude. You want to be zooming past enemies, fighting the ones you have to fight that are in your face. You want to be eating food to heal yourself, and you want to be breaking those rocks and making staircases spawn. Your goal should be to be as fast and efficient as possible, and I promise you, fighting monsters is the opposite of fast and efficient, especially without a galaxy weapon if you're in early game. You just don't have the resources to sit there and fight everything that comes at you. Knock it away from you, go back to breaking rocks. Punch it away from you, go back to breaking rocks. You don't want to be fighting nothing, dude. Like, no way, man. Right? So that is the best I can give you as far as advice to get through the Skull Caverns. The truth is that the Skull Caverns suck, man, and they're not easy for anybody. You can have thousands of hours in this game, and the Skull Caverns will still crush you, especially early game. Especially if you don't have resources like the galaxy weapon, if you don't have resources like the best food options in the game, if you don't have good luck and options of good luck, good amounts of bombs. These are all things that are totally going to make your playthrough horrible. Like it's, dude, I've had playthroughs where I didn't get a prismatic shard until year 4. You better believe I wasn't getting that deep in the Skull Caverns, right? So just keep that in mind. I hope that helps anybody who struggles with the Skull Caverns. I wouldn't feel bad about it. I wouldn't feel bad about this. I'm telling you, the Skull Caverns are tough. People look at the Skull Caverns as something that they're supposed to be able to do, when in all reality, the Skull Caverns are endgame. When I say the word endgame, I mean it's meant to be something that you tackle when the whole game is opened up to you. When you don't have other things that you should be focusing on. And you say to yourself, well, I could really use some upgrades. I guess it's time to get into the Skull Caverns. So keep that in mind. I don't care if you have 1,000 hours in this game. That doesn't mean the Skull Caverns are any more approachable than they were for somebody else, you know? Like, I see a lot of people struggle with the Skull Caverns, so I really wanted to sit down and kind of break it down for y'all. Ooh, we got some dark boots. Ooh, they're honestly better. I'll take them. So hopefully that helps anybody who's struggling with the Skull Caverns. Get out there and get past floor 50 and get that iridium. Start let that iridium rake on in. It'll feel real good. Good luck day, lava eel, decent food and a weapon, a stack of bombs. Should be good. Few staircases for good measure. I think anybody who's new to the game should just staircase their way to floor 100 of the Skull Caverns anyways, because the reward is too good to hold yourself back. That's my opinion on it. If you're new to the game, the Skull Caverns, I feel like you probably want to just skip to floor 100 and get the reward anyways. Because the reward is just too good to like hold back on. Getting 100 staircases is not that bad, especially if you do the Jade method. I think getting 100 staircases is pretty easy. Always jump in the hole, true. I played Stardew the year it came out and never used the wiki, so I have no idea you could use staircases in the mines. That's funny. I used to be terrified of the skull caverns, yeah. The Jade method is putting jades in the crystallarium because you can trade jades to the desert trader specifically on Sundays for staircases. So every early game player should have the crystallarium loaded up with jades or spicy eels, which would be rubies. Rubies for spicy eels, jades for staircases. And then somebody mentioned now their late game is different. Once you get to the point to where you're good on the skull caverns, you do want to have those diamonds in the crystallariums. You can also, there's also a couple other really good options. But remember, we're specifically talking about early game. And the idea of a player who's struggling to get to their first iridium. Because it's really important, dude. Iridium upgrades are so powerful. Getting your first iridium, or even more importantly, getting your first prismatic shard is so important for that galaxy weapon. And if you didn't know, prismatic shards have a chance to drop from iridium ore nodes. So not only does getting past floor 50 matter the most for getting iridium, it matters the most for getting prismatic shards to get your first galaxy weapon if you haven't already got it. So I can't stress this enough. As a new player and on a new save file, when it comes to the skull caverns, you want to get past floor 50. You want to get in there and get past floor 50 and then start your farming and try to get yourself a Prizzy as soon as possible. I got my prismatic shard yesterday on year 2 spring. Just started a new farm and got 2 prismatics in year 1. That's insane luck, dude. That's insane luck, dude. Screw that, man. Go open up some Pokemon card packs. All right, let's get out of here. We made it 5 floors today. We're gonna fish the rest of the day away. We have a couple hours in game to burn. Floor 100, let's fish. All right, see if we can get ourselves a cave jelly. I got 4 crystallariums with jade in them. Nice. Yeah, I think you'll be good, man. I think it sounds like you just need to get yourself past floor 50 and the iridium will start coming in. Once you start getting more iridium, I think the skull caverns just naturally get easier. But yeah, I don't think you were ever meant that skull caverns aren't meant to be easy for anybody. I think even with the best equipment in the game, you can still get like 3 or 4 shot, right? You could still get like 3 or 4 shot in the skull caverns, like easy. Dude, you just get jumped sometimes. Yo, thanks for the lurk, Mochi, and thank you, Buggy. All right, we gotta go. Honestly, we could do one more fish, but my character's getting tired. Who wants to go swimming in that water with me? Seems fun. I'm a wuss who can't do skull caverns without mods. Dude, and that's the whole point. I'm glad you said that, because it's not about you being a wuss. It's about the skull caverns being tough. Like, that's it, dude. It's period. The skull caverns are a tough experience for even the most seasoned veterans in Stardew Valley. sometimes we show up to the Skull Caverns and we get destroyed too. So I'm glad you said that, because again, I think it just solidifies my point. Like, the Skull Caverns are tough, dude, and they're not meant to be taken lightly by anybody. And some players can make it look easy, but in all reality, they're just properly equipped and they've seen enough different scenarios that, like, we kind of know what to expect. Like, rarely do I get overwhelmed by the Skull Caverns. And I just think that's a testament to the amount I've done in the game. Like, I've done so much Stardew that I don't really get surprised anymore. I don't get myself in situations where, you know, it's like, oh no, what's happening, dude? This is scary. Like, I don't really have those moments too much. Believe me, they happen. Believe me, dude, they happen. But like not as often. I gotta remember that my house is all the way down here now. The Slime Charmer ring in combination with the Iridium band with an infinity sword that has Crusader. Ooh, oh my gosh. I'm about to pass out. Okay, I got in my house. That's all that matters. I gotta remember that my house is like not where it usually is. Ooh, level 9 foraging. We're in year 1 right now, Quilty. We're in year 1 right now. I did remix bundles for the new forest farm, and I have a brutal one for friendship, and I need 1 red Lewis ticket and 5 mystery boxes. That one is tough. Yo, no worries, Lizzie J. What game are you playing today? Yeah, the bed by the door, brilliant. Dude, you have to do that at some point. I always keep 1 farm totem on me in case I'm in a bind and I just have to get out of the caverns. 1 farm totem, 1 tent is a part of my normal equipment as well. I'm right there with you. Fortune teller. Spirits are in good humor. I think we go back to the mines. I really need to clear up the grass here outside of my house. I can't walk. Yes, the blessing statue. The blessing statue is a new item in the game that will give you a random buff a day, and sometimes you can get a super nice buff. Oh, it's so nice. My setup, I have a Skull Cavern setup that's very specific, and it's a little bit old school, like since pre 1.5, but it still works really well. My Skull Cavern runs are all based around the slingshot, actually. So you will all see that on stream at some point in this playthrough. But my whole system is based off of the slingshot. And moving as fast as possible through the Skull Caverns with the slingshot. And explosive ammo. And a couple other key points. A big part of it's like bombs, right? I go for full luck. I'm 100% luck based. I think luck is the best. So I don't go for spicy eel. I go for lucky lunch instead. And give myself speed in other ways. But yeah, I have a pretty old school my system hasn't really been updated for 1.6 quite yet. Like I'm assuming I could probably incorporate some of the new enchantments, and I can incorporate the new trinkets a little bit better in my setup than I have. I'm no good with the slingshot, so I stick with the sword. Yeah, that's why I didn't even bring the slingshot up when I was giving out tips on how to get through the Skull Caverns. Because that's kind of a personal thing. I've just been doing a specific setup for a long time, and I just stick with it. Ran out of energy in Star Rail, so I moved over to Genshin. Nice. I have 4 mobile games to switch between. Right now I'm playing 2 mobile games with a little side of Pokemon Go. with a little bit of Pokemon Go on the side. Pokemon Go has become the Woody of my toy box. And I just pull it out when I'm bored of everything else. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play with Woody today. I guess. Might as well as pull Woody out of the toy box. All right. I guess it's time to play with Woody today. He's definitely my side squeeze. We need a wood chipper. I think we're going to go invest in a wood chipper. Can we buy the wood chipper now, or is that like a year 2 thing? Or I might have to do like a community board quest to get a wood chipper, which would suck. He's the snake in the boot. All right, we need to lumberjack it up. I'm in the middle of fall year 1, and I totally forgot to work on getting pigs. I was so close to completing community center year 1. Now I have to bank all of the traveling merchant, bank on the traveling merchant having a truffle. There's a couple things that will stop you from that year 1 community center, and that's one of them. That's unfortunate to hear, but good luck with the traveling merchant. Yo, Sleepy Catloaf, I had a great trip. Thank you. We did come back yesterday for a very small stream. For those of you that might have missed it, I just needed some sleep, so I was only able to be here for about 4.5 hours yesterday. But it was a blast. We had a great little show. And my trip was good. My trip was good. I shared a lot of details yesterday, but all in all, it was very relaxing. It was recharging. I got to cook a Thanksgiving meal, and I haven't got to really share that side of the holidays with my loved ones in a while. Like my roommate would be the only person I've got a chance to cook Thanksgiving for. And it's never been like a traditional thing. It's usually me cooking for Scuffed Eats, and then they'll just eat like, but we never like sit down and eat together. So it's not quite the same, but it's still outside of that. I haven't really had a chance to do a ton of that. So I got a chance to do that over the weekend, and that was nice. Definitely one of the highlights of the weekend was getting a chance to share what I believe to be the flavors of Thanksgiving with the partner, which was nice. So I was lurking at work. Nice. This is how new traditions are born. There's always a first time. Yeah, it was really, really special, dude. It was cool. It wasn't like, I don't know. It was like, I almost want to call it like a pocket Thanksgiving, because I cooked it all in just like 2 hours, not even. They even had like this very tiny baby turkey. I didn't end up cooking it, but like, I'm so happy to see that they have baby turkeys, like just enough for like 1 or 2 people. So it was really cool. Like they had like all these perfect little, like it was like a little pocket Thanksgiving. Ooh, nice. This is a plus speed food. We'll take that. Do the super meal. Yo, no worries, Taco. But I did, the best thing that I cooked was my famous, I call them famous, but I really shouldn't. I really should stop putting famous in front of things. That's not how that works. My famous smashed potatoes. But so the secret to my smashed potatoes is garlic and onions. And it's not like a big secret, right? But what I do is I saute, so I boil the potatoes. I use red skin potatoes and I keep the skin on and I boil them. And so this is all normal, right? Then what I do is I put a nice amount of butter into a pan with garlic and onions. And I let that sit there and get nice and translucent and create like a nice garlicky, buttery, oniony, like very finely diced onions. So you don't even really, when you're eating the mashed potatoes, you don't even bite into an onion. They're so soft and cut so small that like you don't even know they're there, and that's the secret, right? So very finely diced onions and garlic with a ton of butter, and they sit and saute in a pan for like, dude, sometimes like 20 minutes. I'll just sit there and let them saute and get really soft, right? Then I put that into the bowl of freshly boiled potatoes, and I start to mix more butter, the garlic onion butter mix, and heavy cream. And that's it. I put some rosemary, some basil and oregano. I have used rosemary in the past, but that's such a strong flavor. It's really just more about basil and oregano. Anything from there is your choice. You could do thyme, you could do rosemary's beautiful with potatoes, so that's your choice, but I keep it simple. I just do basil and oregano, and that's it. And the secret is the buttery, garlicky blend that I do. That's the whole secret to the potatoes is the garlicky, buttery blend that I mix in to help build that nice creamy, because you want them to be creamy. So even though I only smash them and I keep some lumps in it, right? You still want it to be creamy. You want it to be like a nice, fluffy, creamy pillow. And that's like your goal always. So a good amount of heavy cream and a good amount of butter, salt, pepper, a little bit of herbs, and this delicious, buttery, garlicky, oniony blend. And I make the best smashed potatoes, dude. They're so good. They're so good, man. Some of my favorite stuff to cook for sure. So that was like the main thing that I cooked. Everything else was like pretty lighthearted. We did a green bean casserole, which was actually my first time ever making a green bean casserole. And I guess I never realized how easy it was, dude. Why is a green bean casserole like the most simple thing on the planet? And it's so tasty. Especially with those little crunchy onions at the end. So I made because of course, you know, I asked my partner what they wanted. I asked them what was their flavors of Thanksgiving. Like, what are foods that you think are your favorite Thanksgiving foods? Right? So then I made some of their stuff as well. I made like the stuff that they would look forward to. So yeah, it turned out really good. We had the cranberry sauce, of course. Out of the can with the can shape and everything. I want to make my own cranberry sauce someday, though. I think that actually sounds really good. Green bean casserole is the best. I tried it from scratch one time and it was not as good. Broccoli casserole? Dude, I would love broccoli casserole. I'm a big broccoli fan. Anybody else? I'm a big broccoli stan. Sign me up for some broccoli. All right, let's go. Let's go do a little bit of mining. Just got a bunch of fresh broccoli. Welcome back. Thank you, Ace Mage. I had a good break for sure. I like to slightly overcook it so it's softer. Hated it as a kid, love it now. Heartbreak broccoli is my snack. I take the can of cream of mushroom soup and splash it through the strainer to get rid of the mushroom bits. Oh, you're not a fan? I'm not a big fan of canned mushrooms myself, so I get that. But I didn't really taste them. Like I don't remember biting into them while I ate the casserole, so. Drench that broccoli in nacho cheese. Now we're talking. I do have an immersion blender. I just got one actually as a gift from Sister Honey from the community. I need the crunch. I've always eaten cream of mushroom straight with some cheddar. Wait, really? I've never had cream of mushroom straight. What's up, B. Kimberly? Good morning. My favorite food right there. Potatoes, boil them, mash them, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. So I'm excited because the one thing I didn't have is turkey. So we get to focus on that for Scuffed Eats for the Thanksgiving episode. Next episode of Scuffed Eats is on the 28th of November. And we're cooking a Thanksgiving meal. So I'll be doing turkey. I think I'll skip the mashed potatoes since I did them with my partner. And I'm going to do something to replace them. Like maybe like a nice take on like a mashed sweet potato. Normally I do candied yams, but I'm thinking maybe we could do something really cool. Like a interesting take on like a savory mashed sweet potato, maybe. I've never done that. I would want them to be savory. Yeah, we're gonna skip the smashed potatoes because I did them since I did them on my break. I don't think I want to do them for my Thanksgiving meal, and we're gonna maybe do something experimental. We'll do turkey. We're gonna do a homemade stuffing, and we'll stuff the bird with the homemade stuffing. So those are the two things I know for sure. We're gonna do a homemade stuffing and a bird. And then I think we'll do some sort of like maybe sweet potato something. I think we'll maybe make a pie or some kind of take on a dessert. Maybe even like a pasta. We did a lasagna a couple years ago, like last year. I might even do like a pasta. Next Scuffed Eats is for Thanksgiving. So it'll be Thanksgiving Day, all day. Yeah, usually sweet potatoes, we do we call them candied yams. And we mash them down and then we bake them with marshmallows on top. Yeah, that was a recipe we did our whole life. Maybe a little bit of honey. But I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. We'll see. We'll see what we want to do. I definitely want to have some sort of savory starch. I might even just do roasted potatoes this year. Like I'm thinking about just roasting off some potatoes with rosemary, thyme, the classic herbs, and just like roasting them off and putting them on the side, like nice and diced up. Like I wouldn't mind like a roasted potato, something like that. I love roasted vegetables, dude. My sister-in-law always makes homemade mac and cheese. Yeah, I'm thinking we'll do maybe some kind of starch, right? We need a starch. We'll do a turkey, we'll do a homemade stuffing, we'll do a dessert probably. And then maybe something new or experimental or something I haven't had in a while. Like I wouldn't mind doing like a rigatoni and like making a homemade marinara. And we could just have the homemade marinara salt simmering all day. You know what I mean? Like we could start off with that. We could do like a homemade marinara and have it simmer all day as you're supposed to do. Let's be real. The only reason we don't cook marinara sauce for 12 hours is because we don't got time to do that. But all marinara sauces and pizza sauces could just sit there for 12 plus hours. If you're not doing that, it's probably because of time. Otherwise, that's just how that's supposed to go. Yo, we'll see you later, Cafe Bro. Roasted sweet potatoes are so good. Yeah, a little red wine and just hours and hours. So we could do like a rigatoni. Yeah, we'll have some fun. We're going to have some fun for Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to have the recipe up by the start of next week. If people want to cook with me, if not sooner, but it's going to just be a traditional Thanksgiving. It's not necessarily meant to be a cook-along. It's not quite going to be the same style as my cook-along streams. It's kind of meant to just be a showcase of Thanksgiving and a way for us to share Thanksgiving together. Whether you're somebody like me who maybe doesn't have people to spend Thanksgiving with, you'll be able to join us on stream. That's what it's all about, right? I don't have a ton of people to spend the holidays with, so it's pretty special to me to. We'll sit around all day and we'll just vibe. It'll be great. Going easy this holiday, just making dessert. Yo, I'm getting killed by this bat. Yeah, I'm gonna do a nice small turkey this year. I don't think we're going to do a big bird like we've done, because we've done multiple Thanksgivings on stream and we've done some very big turkeys. I think we'll do like a nice small bird this year. I don't have any intentions of going too crazy. I'm not sure if my roommate will be eating at home this year or not. He might be doing something else. Yeah, it should be fun. But I'm excited to do a turkey regardless. Even if it is a smaller, like maybe just like a nice 10-pounder or something. Have some leftovers, and then I could make turkey bone soup, turkey white bean soup after. We could use the bones, or we could use the bones in a turkey stock. Might be nice to do like a turkey stock. That would be cool. I have 2 Thanksgivings to go to. I'll try to tune in. Yeah, no worries if you can't tune in. I would love for y'all to get out there and enjoy your holiday. If you have family and stuff to be with, go be with your family. Dude, take a break off of Twitch if that's a thing that you're willing to do, or maybe you need to do, you know, whatever. I can't recommend it enough, you know? Regardless, I'll be here. And if we don't see you, I'm sure we'll see you the day after, or, you know, the weekend around it, and we could say hello then. Yeah. I think breaking away from social medias and stuff is good, especially around family. You know, try to be in the moment, try to be present, and just enjoy the time with the family. It's not like I think most of us probably don't spend a ton of time with our family outside of holidays. I think that's kind of normal nowadays. So I'm working, but I'll aim to work lurk that day for sure. Yeah, it'll be sick. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good time, Atomic Potato. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty excited. We'll do some scuffed eats. We'll play some Animal Crossing. We'll do whatever we feel like doing. I think we'll end up doing some Mario Party Jamboree, and we'll hang out and do some multiplayer gaming. It'll be sick. Boom, 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 boom. Can we get a staircase, dude? Did we already see one and I just missed it? Yo, chill. All right, we might have to get out of here soon. Welcome back, Iron May. Give me coffee. I hope you're feeling good today. No staircase? Come on. What's this all about, dude? Oh, deviled eggs. I wouldn't mind deviled eggs again this year. I'm actually about to make some egg salad today after the stream. I got all the fixins for some egg salad, and I'm super excited. Looks like I'm not going to get lucky, and we're going to just have to leave here. Yep, let's get out of here. I got to remember that I'm not so close to the bus station in this playthrough. So we don't have the luxury of getting off the bus as late as I would normally. I need to give myself about 10 extra in-game minutes. So that was pretty good. Lucky I live close to my parents. I see them all the time. A blessing for sure. What's up, Twitch Thomas? Being present is hard for this creatively minded being. I know. I know exactly what you mean. Dude, 10 G's. Woo-hoo-hoo. The hardest part for me is not eating most of them before they're served. Greetings, it is I, the Queen of Sauce, here to teach you a new mouth-watering recipe from my secret cookbook. This week's dish: glazed yams. It's yams season, and what better way to enjoy these delightful tubers than by slathering them in sweet, sticky glaze. You'll need a nice ripe yam and a bunch of sugar. Now this is how you do it. We were just talking about candied yams. Yeah, she heard us. We were just talking about candied yams. Spirits are neutral today. Dude, I'm all about the candied yams. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. All right, let's roll. Yo, dog. Wonder if I should chosen family holiday this year. Been on the struggle bus with the blood family. I mean, sometimes you gotta just do, you gotta do what's best for you, right? I think that's always what should be the first priority in a lot of ways. Gotta just do what's best for you. My mom always does a huge snack table before Thanksgiving is served, so I'm usually super stuffed. Dude, the snack table's the best table. Anybody else an appetizer snob? As in, you prefer appetizers over the main course? Dude, like, I'm all about, give me them apps, baby. Give me the snack, give me the cheese shelf. You think I want Thanksgiving? Nah, dude, I want the cheese and cracker plate, dude. I want the cheese and crackers. That's right, macaroni. You think I want things? I don't want your food. I'll destroy a spinach and artichoke dip platter, dude. That's what I'm saying. All right, I don't remember what my luck was. We checked our luck, but I don't remember what it was. Ooh, we got a new fish pond. What are we putting in there? A sturgeon? I can't remember what we said we were going to put into this next fish pond. I think a super cucumber, right? Your neighbor? Let's go ahead and grab this. All right, sturgeon. Throw that in there. Easy peasy. Grab some wood and make a sign real quick. Okay. And we're locked in. It's sturgeon country. Until we get our next legendary fish, we'll probably replace it. So I don't think I'll do the quest. Because we'll probably, I mean, I could just go make another fish pond as well by the time we get to winter's legendary fish. So we have that option as well. If games didn't exist, we'd still have a food community here. For sure. Especially with the cooking show. That could totally just be our full thing. I could do that. I could actually see myself doing that. I could see myself cooking, having like a cooking show that was like pretty much daily. I have the passion for cooking to do that. The only problem with the cooking show daily is that it's expensive. That's the one thing that I would have to think so much more about, is like how to make sure that it's not like something I'm throwing a bunch of money away. But otherwise, I could see myself pivoting to full-time cooking. Well, like I said, it just comes down to having the passion for it. That's what it always comes down to. Boom, 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 boom. Once a week, yeah, that's my current goal. My current goal is to get scuffed to once a week meal prep. Once a week meal prep with an occasional side episode mixed in that's not focused on meal prep. That's kind of my goal right now with Scuffed, but I like it. Every 2 weeks right now feels good. So I don't feel the need to fix it if it ain't broken kind of vibe. Right now, what we have is good, and it'll stay this way for a bit. But as we go into next year, you might see a little bit more. Boom, 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 boom. Feeling neutral today. Ooh, what the heck? Lady Carve is dropping some crazy deviled eggs on us. Dude, that sounds so good. Deep fried Cajun deviled eggs. Dog, you can't be in my way. I can't get through. This dog is in my way, man. I literally can't leave my property because of my dog. I have to go the other way. Unbelievable. Can you tell me more about the fish ponds? So the fish ponds, you put a specific fish in it and the fish multiply. So the main point of a fish pond is that the fish multiply and that you can take them back out and smoke them or cook them or eat them or sell them. The second biggest part of a fish pond is that they produce roe. And roe can be sold directly. It can also be aged in a preserving jar and you can sell it for more money. Or there's one specific fish in the game, the sturgeon, that actually makes caviar, which is a rare item in the game that can be sold for some pretty good money. So in conclusion, the fish ponds are really a way for you to farm fish. You farm the fish for their roe, and you sell the roe, you age it, you sell it, you can even make caviar. And it's also a way for you to mass produce fish. So slowly but surely, my one fish is going to turn into 10 fish. And then I'm going to be able to sell those fish or cook with them or smoke them or anything. And that's the reason, that's how like the fish pond works in a sense. That's like the reason why the fish pond is a way to make money. Like that's why you would use the fish pond. Yeah, Scuffed Eats is still very much at the ground floor, chat. And you'll be seeing a lot of changes and growth with Scuffed. I can't say too much because I can't over speak on the future of my show. I've learned that's not the best because I'm always forever changing. My wants, my needs, my passions are fleeting. At any moment I could wake up and say I want to do this now. And I follow my heart a lot with my content. So, but I can tell you that Scuffed, we're at the very beginning of Scuffed. It's really the first time that the show feels permanent in 5 years. And that was my first goal. I want the show to feel permanent. I want it to feel like a thing that people can look forward to. And my goal is to have it be a permanent and consistent thing for forever from here. And then now, how can I iterate on it to make it better? More permanent, more exciting, more special. So it's a slow process and you're just watching the growth and the iteration on my content and my journey. And this is where it all begins. This is where it starts for me as a creator, is getting it to be something that feels official and consistent. And then from there, if I feel like it's something I want to pursue, then I'll continue pursuing it. And I can tell you, if that's one thing I can talk about, is it is something that I want to continue and that I'm very passionate about. So you can look forward to a lot more Scuffed for sure. And you'll see plenty of things as a creator. I'm going to go in and out of things throughout the whole journey. Right? I took a break from gaming news because I realized that I didn't have the passion that I had when I started it. And I wasn't quite enjoying the gaming news segments as much as I was in the past. And I thought maybe I should put it on the back burners and come back to it with a different mindset. Maybe I could make it even better and more exciting and something I can be more passionate about. You know, another example is the media shares. You know, it started off as something I was really backing and I'm really excited about. And after a little while, I kind of realized that I wasn't really enjoying sitting and reacting to things. It didn't feel creative. And I think it was creating a space where people were watching me for the wrong reason. Instead of people watching my show for my content and for what I do, it started feeling like people were watching to get some kind of gratification from me showing their stuff off. And that's cool every once in a while, but I don't want that to be the reason you're watching my show. I want you to watch my show because you're here for me in my broadcast, in my content, in what I am showcasing for the day. So I started realizing that wasn't the direction I wanted to take my content, right? I don't want people to watch me because of some kind of gratification from something else. Like, that's not really what I want. So I took a break from it and I do it differently now. Now we do media shares as a way to connect as the community, but we don't do it so often that it's turning into a thing that people are getting something else out of. I want it to just be a special thing that we do every once in a while as a way to connect, period, right? So you're going to always see this growth, and you're always going to see this progress throughout my journey and how I iterate on things and how I slowly spread my wings as a creator and make things the best that they can be, right? And you can even see it with gaming. We've grown as a gaming creator, and I've slowly shifted how I approach games and my mindset towards what I'm willing to play and not play and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But all in all, you're definitely going to see a lot of growth with Scuffed. And that was the whole point that I was trying to get to is, so yeah, Scuffed Eats has a long way to go, but I think it's come a super long way. And it feels like something that we can all count on. Right?
Watch you for the beautiful beard footage. Bushes.
It's beautiful. I think Scuffed has really gotten to its best form so far. And I think it only has room to grow. So I'm pretty excited. So, yo, Iron May, thank you so much for your kind words. I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I actually already talked about the fish ponds. You might have missed it. So otherwise, I don't really have much more to say about the fish ponds. Again, the sturgeon are good because of caviar, and legendary fish are a new thing. And you can put those in there as well. But I apologize. I'm not going to go through the whole rant about fish ponds again. I think you might have missed it, Lulu, and I'm real sorry about that. But that's one that you're going to have to go back to the VOD for. Because I literally, I broke it all down already. But sturgeons, to answer your question briefly, sturgeons and legendary fish seem to be some of the best. It's all about the value of the fish because you're selling them, or it's all about the value of the roe that they produce. And legendary fish are by far the most superior, and sturgeons make caviar, so they seem to be pretty much the second place in superiority. So, but otherwise, again, the fish ponds are all about reproducing stuff, so you can use them in all sorts of different ways. Crab cakes are a good example, Stella, because you want to cook with them. You can even get prismatic shards from them if you do rainbow trout, stuff like that. So, thanks for the 100 biddies, by the way, and welcome in, Mr. Will. Yeah, thank you, Iron Man. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, it's exciting. I quite enjoy the journey of content creation, and I used to be embarrassed by the fact that like my growth was put out there, and like that it like I was exposed, if you will, in front of people while I struggle and like learn. But now it's something I really embrace. Now, like, dude, 50% of my shows are like experimental nowadays. Like 50%'s a lot. Like, let's say 25%. But like, maybe like a big chunk of my shows, like maybe like a fifth or like maybe like every 10 shows are very like experimental, because a lot of what I do is I realize that I just like to put stuff out there and then iterate on it. That's the kind of creator I am. Like, I'm not like a planning creator, right? Like, I don't like sit there and like think really, really hard about how to perfect something. I like to learn in the wild. I like to just do it and then go back and watch the tape and be like, how did this work? This sucked. This joke was dumb. This wasn't a good idea. I could have did better here. And then I iterate, right? So like, it's fun because for me, like when I was a new creator, I used to kind of feel like that was like a problem. I was like, I don't want people to see me struggle, or I don't want people to see me like going through the process of learning something. It felt embarrassing. But now I think it's actually like something that I think is integral to the live broadcast. I feel like as a live creator, I'd much rather just experiment while I'm live and just kind of expose and show the growth. I think it's a little bit more human, if you will. It's a little bit more relatable. I think a lot of people actually appreciate the growth and like seeing the journey. I think a lot of people like it's something that you can see the growth and you can apply it to your own journey in a lot of different ways, right? You can like, whether you're like, maybe you're an artist or you're a musician, maybe you create content, maybe you have a new job. Like there's like a lot to be learned from it. Right? So I think it's cool. I think it's actually something I've started embracing as a creator. So it's neat. It's interesting how my perspective changed on that over the years though. Cause like I said, I didn't even want to save my original first year of streaming. I didn't even really want to save it at first. I remember thinking I'm going to delete all of this because it all sucks. Not exactly. I've always kind of been fascinated with my own content in a very unhealthy way. But like, I used to think that. I used to be like, oh, a lot of this stuff is so low production. Nobody's going to want to see this. You know, I actually had those thoughts at one point. And I'm happy that over time I realized like, actually all that stuff is so cool to go back and look at and like see my growth from like old clips and stuff. It's pretty interesting stuff. So I'm glad I figured that out pretty early on. Holy heck, dude. Yeah, thank you again, Iron May. Thank you for the bits. I hope you've been well, Mr. Will. Tiny Terraces has a demo on Steam. Tiny Terraces. I've never heard of that. Speaking of Thanksgiving, have y'all ever heard of the Thanksgiving restaurant? There's a restaurant out in America. I've been to it, but it's no longer in the place that it was when I grew up or in my 20s. But it was a whole restaurant dedicated to showing up and eating Thanksgiving every day. And it was legit, dude. You walk in this place and they got the whole menu, everything you would want from a traditional American Thanksgiving. They had football playing. They had football on the televisions, old Detroit Lions football games. What is it? Detroit Lions and who else? Detroit and somebody else would play every year on TV. Dude, it was mega dope. Like, it was actually so sick to just show up at this place in the middle of like summer and get Thanksgiving food. I imagine the place shut down because not everyone is so keen on that. Yeah, Cowboys. Yeah, I imagine it shut down because not everyone's so keen on it, but I loved it, dude. I actually loved it. I would tear it up. Yeah, dude, it was so good, man. All right, we made it to floor 10. Let's go fishing for the rest of the day and try to get another cave jelly. See if we get a cave jelly. We got a little bit of time. Jokes aside, yo, thank you, Ham Labs. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with content creation. But yeah, somebody was sharing their thoughts on like where they would like to see Scuffed Eats, and that's what made me even fall into that rant. I haven't played this game in a couple days. I'm not even trying right now. That was too much. So yeah, I appreciated reading that, and it was nice sharing some of my thoughts with like the future of Scuffed. And how I haven't actually said that out loud on the channel yet, but like I'm feeling very confident with where Scuffed is. And yeah, it definitely feels like a permanent staple of the channel finally, more than it ever has before. So I'm catching a pretty good flow with it. Some local mom and pops that do Thanksgiving dinner on their menus. Yeah, I've seen that before. I think there was even like a Thanksgiving sandwich at Arby's or something I heard. Which is pretty interesting. So like I've heard of that kind of stuff, but I think it was interesting that a whole restaurant was dedicated to the Thanksgiving meal. Yes! Cave jelly. That means another smoker, baby. Smoking. Dude, I could definitely go for some crab cakes now. Wait, another one? Dude, 2 cave jellies? The luck right now. Can we get a third? DiGiorno's has a frozen Thanksgiving pizza. I'm not sure about that. I'm sure it would be good. Some turkey, some smashed potatoes. I don't know. I'm sure it would be good, but not too sure if I'm interested in a Thanksgiving pizza. I have had like a baked potato pizza before, and that was pretty good. So like I said, I'm sure it would be tasty. What's up, Puddin'? Hey, welcome in. If you got a free hand, don't be shy to welcome the fam in here. Hit him with an HDES wave, exclamation point wave if you're lazy like me. Uh-oh, it's almost bedtime. We gotta go. We better drink some Joja Cola to speed this up. Get ourselves some pre-bed caffeine. That'll help with the sleep schedule. There's 120 floors of the original mines, and the Skull Caverns have unlimited floors. But floor 100 gives you your first reward. The main reason you want to get to floor 100 of the Skull Caverns is because you get a permanent HP increase or something like that. It's like a pretty nice reward. When just starting out and streaming to literally 0 people, does one just pretend there are people there? Yeah. Now, everybody handles the journey differently. So really, the question that you want to ask yourself first as a new creator is, why are you creating content? What is your goal? Right? So the reason I think this question is super important is because then that will answer your question more than anything, right? So is your goal to create an engaging environment where you want people to come and talk to you? Well, I can tell you right now, if you want people to talk to you, you need to give them something to talk about, and it ain't just gonna be the gameplay. So you're gonna wanna talk to yourself. My old rule was pretend like you're streaming to 1,000 people always. I still do that to this day. Everything I do, I pretend like I'm streaming to 1,000 people. When I was a brand new streamer in front of 5 people, I used to pull a schedule up. I used to switch to another scene and I would pull a schedule up and I'd be like, all right, and this is what you can expect from the stream this week, everybody. And it was like me, my roommate, my dummy account, and like one stranger in the chat. But I would present it as if thousands of people were watching me. I was like, this is the schedule this week. This is the action we're getting into. And that was what I want to do. That's what I would present. It didn't matter if there was one person watching me or 1,000. I still made my show presented as if I had hundreds and thousands of people watching me. But again, that was my journey because my goal was to build a community and to get people to talk to me. Let me give you a couple examples real quick of maybe other goals. Maybe your goal is to just showcase gameplay. I have met plenty of streams on Twitch where their whole goal is to just showcase games. So they load up Twitch, they stream to maybe 1 to 5 people, and they just play the game. They don't necessarily care about becoming a big streamer. They're not looking to turn it into a career. They're not even looking to make any money off of it. They just want to showcase themselves playing games because they like the game and they want other people to experience it too. And there's nothing wrong with that. So it all comes down to what your goal is as the creator. What is your goal, Old Gray? And you might not have been asking for yourself, but just I'm answering your question. What is your goal? Because once you know your goal, then you can go from there. Let me give you another really, really quick example, right? Let me give you another example. Let's say your goal is to create a nice, cozy experience where you want people to show up and go to sleep. You want people to show up and relax. Your dialogue could just be focused, instead of trying to create an environment for people to talk to you, your commentary could just be focused on creating a cozy experience. Your commentary instead could just be 100% you talking to yourself. Instead of asking questions, you'll notice I ask a lot of questions as a creator, do I not? Because I want you in the chat typing back to me. So a lot of my goal is to get you to talk. So I ask questions. What do you think about this chat? Oh, I really love this. Let me give you some tips on how to play. Feel free to come and ask me about how to play the game, and I'll give you tips and advice on how this works and what this means. But maybe you as a creator, you just want to sit there and maybe you just want to provide an ASMR YouTube video on Twitch. And your whole gameplay could just be this. Okay, and now it's time for living off the land. I'm going to wake up today and let's see, what am I going to be doing in game today? Well, it looks like I should probably go visit Linus because I'm trying to get those hearts up. I think Linus has a gift for me at 3 hearts. And well, I guess I also need to figure out how to get the stone to craft myself another fish pond. And yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And oh man, I do love taking a look at Ochi. Look at how cute this little dude is. Little cutie pie. Anyways, let's get to it. Let's hop into the farm today. Right? It's almost like old school YouTube videos. Y'all remember on YouTube? That was a whole thing. It still is. But that's like gaming on YouTube started with these things called Let's Plays. And the person would sit there and talk to you like they were Blue's Clues. Hey everybody, welcome to my Let's Play of Stardew. This is how I found Dazabound, dude. I used to watch Daza on YouTube, and he would just sit there and play Stardew and talk about what he was doing the whole time. You see, Twitch doesn't have to be talking to chat. So again, the point is, what is your goal? You don't have to create a space and chat with people. You could create a space for people to chat with each other, and you're just there to put on a Let's Play. Maybe occasionally you look over to the chat and you say, hey, glad to see you here today. There's some people out there that don't open up Twitch chat. There's some people who don't really care to engage with Twitch chat. They're more here for gameplay, for you, your voice, what you look like, the human interaction, having somebody in the same room as you playing video games. And that concludes answering your question for you. Like that's my thoughts. Is once you figure out why you're streaming and the kind of content you're looking to create, it makes the idea of what you're trying to accomplish a little easier. And the hardest part from there is locking in and doing it, the execution. So when it comes down to the idea of building a community, because I did read your message that you said you would like to build a community, but it feels awkward. Oh, well, guess what? It felt awkward for me, and it felt awkward for every other streamer on the planet who had to start with 0 viewers. Yeah, it's very awkward. And you're not going to get past that awkward phase ever. You are always going to be put in a position as an early creator where you have to sit there and you have to make the conversation and you have to give people a reason to talk in your chat. That's your job. If you're trying to build a community and if you're trying to build engagement as a new creator, then you need to sit there and you need to be entertaining. And the best way to do that is through your words. Yep. Try to be interesting, try to be entertaining, try to talk about things. And the best way to do that is to focus on the thing you're doing on the screen. Like you said, you probably talk to yourself all the time. Take it to the next level. Don't just talk to yourself, talk through your thoughts. right, dude? And I love sharing this story because this all takes me all the way back to my first year of streaming, and this is the best thing I could share for a new creator. The one day, a viewer of mine came into my chat and they said, "Yo, dude, I really love your commentary on Stardew Valley. It's one of the reasons I stay around here. I just love your commentary while you play Stardew." I paused. I said, "Commentary? Do I even know what that word means?" Jokingly, I knew what that word meant, but I paused and said, "Commentary? Is that what I've been doing?" Oh, it is, isn't it? All of a sudden, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I've been streaming for 5 months at this point. And I realized, oh, you mean when I sit here and go, okay, what am I going to do next? Okay, well, I need some jades. So we need jades so we can get staircases so we can get into the Skull Caverns. And looks like that's my next goal. Otherwise, I think I'm going to probably need to farm up some wood as well. Yeah, we need some wood. And I would comment on the little things that I would notice in the game, right? I'd be like, oh, wow, like, oh, my dog's looking cute, like that example I used earlier. And I would just like say these things to myself. And then all of a sudden it hit me. What I'm doing is commentary. And there's nothing awkward about it. That's it. And it was that day, from that day forward, I realized that the idea of commentary was something that I was overthinking for 5 months. I thought that commentary was something so much more grand than just talking about what you're doing while you're playing the game. It is nothing more complicated than that. It's not awkward to talk your thoughts out. Just take everything that's going on in here about what you're doing in the game and just say it out loud. And it blew me away. This realization 5 months into streaming blew me away. I was like, oh, wow, that's commentary? Cool, I can keep doing that. And I proceeded to keep doing that. And here I am 5 years later. I've honed my craft. I've honed the skill of commentary. And now I could say that I genuinely know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But back then I didn't need to know that. I just needed to realize that it was as simple as opening my mouth instead of just thinking to myself quietly. That was it. And that was, I think, one of the most important realizations I ever had as a creator. It's as simple as yapping. Don't overthink it. Don't turn it into more than what it is. Just talk about stuff. Bingo bongo, right? Like it's so silly when you word it that way. It's so silly when you say it like this, because it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I could do that. It's like, sure, all right. So I like sharing that story. I think that was a pretty important thing for my journey as a streamer. So if you are doing the streaming thing, it's I think that's a good place to practice your commentary. But I can tell you, I can't stress it enough that you need to sit down and ask yourself why you want to create content. It sounds like such an obvious thing, but you really should be setting goals as soon as you go into content creation. Even if the goal is as simple as, I just want to share my passions with others, right? I just want people to enjoy video games that I think are cool. You know, like, we all forget that this whole content creation thing started off with a bunch of people being nerds on YouTube. We forget that so often. We forget that this all started because of people that wanted to put out goofy videos on the internet. Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Hamster on a piano. Eating popcorn on a piano. Like, that's it. That was content creation. Like, so like, you gotta really go into this with with an open heart and an open mind, and like identify like this should be a creative outlet first. This should be something that find like a value, find something that makes sense to you. Like, why do you want to do this? Like, just focus on the fun of it. Focus on, if you want to build yourself a small little community of people to hang out with, dope, that's a good place to start. And set yourself a goal. I'd love to have 5 people that know my name and exist on Twitch and that come and visit me every once in a while and say hello. I want to share my experience of Zelda with at least 5 people by the end of the year and have a nice hearty conversation with at least 5 people about my love for Zelda. That to me is the most beautiful goal right there. You're not overreaching, you're not underreaching, you're just putting yourself out there to share the experiences of the internet with each other. The things you love, right? I think if that's where it should all start, because like if you're trying to start anywhere else besides that, I think you're really setting yourself up for a world of confusion and just like, why? Like at that point, like, I don't know. Like, I personally think that's where all content creators should start. I kind of say this hypocritically because that's actually not where I started. Like, I went into this very much manifesting success, and I knew exactly what I wanted to accomplish. I spent 5 years researching Twitch before I started streaming and content creation, and I knew exactly what I was doing, and I went in and I did it. And I think that I don't talk about that often because I think that that was really stupid of me. And if I would have known what I know now, I might not even have done this. I was very naive, and I had an ignorance is bliss thing going on. And I just put myself out there like, sure, this will work. And then it just kind of worked. But like, if I knew then what I knew now, I might not even have started streaming. And I don't say that as like a depressing comment. I say that as just like, because there's a lot. And like thinking you're going to find like monetary success from content creation is really not where your head should be at. I'm just a very driven individual, and I manifested my success and I made it happen. But I think it really should have started more with just like fun. But I when I think back, in a lot of ways, that's again where I'm just kind of lucky, because I've been gaming since I was 3 years old, and gaming is the ultimate fun for me. So like, I was just blessed with the ability to like have a lot of passionate fun and also get lucky enough to have a breakout that I was able to work hard and capitalize on. So anyways, my point is though, is that like, I don't know, I might not have even found the success I found as a streamer if I went into it with like a different mindset. Like I might have like stayed away from it. I don't know, man, because there's a lot going on. I guess here's a good way to word how I feel. I've seen a lot of really talented creators, people that I consider more talented than me, stop creating content and like step away from it and stop doing it because they weren't finding the success that they maybe that they were kind of meant to find. And you see that enough and you realize like, wow, like I'm really lucky. Like I say that being so kind to myself. I'm not putting myself down, but I have seen some super, super talented creators who just didn't find the success that I found. And after you see that enough, you can't help but be like, why not, dude? Like, I almost get angry. I almost get like angry for them. Like it almost doesn't all the way feel right. But you know. How do you have so much stuff? I'm playing in year 1, almost fall, and I'm far away from you. I have thousands of hours, Sarah. and I just kind of know what I'm doing in this game. It really does come down to experience. It really does, dude. Are you kind of new to the game, or would you consider yourself a little bit on the newer side? Yeah, I'm a full-time creator. I've been full-time streaming since December 2019, if you can believe it, dude. Life issues can draw someone away from streaming too. It's sad. Yeah, it really can, right? Yeah, a lot of times life does get in the way. Visual art is like that too, really any creator career. Thankfully, you're in a position where you can create teams to uplift those who you believe in, which is sick. Yeah, I think, what the heck? Yo, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I believe so strongly that, like, that's one of the things that are so important to me about our creative collective and Twitch. It's super, super important to me that we have like a space for people to kind of find a collective of like-minded individuals. Like, that's what it's all about, is like having like-minded individuals. I think if you can surround yourself by like-minded individuals who also focus on creating content, then I think it's easier for you to identify your strengths and your weaknesses. And I think it's not just content. We're talking about creativity in general, music, art, cooking, right? I think a lot of that is it's important. I think if you have to surround yourself around those people, I think it really helps you reflect and then be able to apply it to your own journey. Yeah, I agree with that. I knew I played 5 years ago, but I don't remember anything, so I'm trying it, but I feel a little lost. It's like I have so many things to do, but I don't have enough time in game. But it's funny either way. So Sarah, I can tell you this much: the game has changed a lot in 5 years. So take your time, dude. You have a lot to learn. And the truth is you got to remind yourself that there is no ending to this game. So no matter how much time goes by, like in game, there's nothing that you can't do in year 2, year 3, year 4. So I would just kind of go with the flow, baby. Yo, Sarah Sloth, good to have you here today. I started a playthrough with the farm type, and I'm making money off fishing. It's so much fun. Are you doing a playthrough off the ocean or the river, Minty? Y'all ever stumble across a really random YouTube video that you just have to watch? Because why have I slowly been watching a 2-hour video explaining every Fallout vault? Dude, I watched that video. I just watched a video last night explaining the economy of Delfino Plaza. Like, look at this is my history. Look. It explained the whole economy of Delfino Plaza.
Did you know that Delfino Plaza has
from Mario Party from Super Mario Sunshine, and like the unemployment rate. And then you want to know what's funny, dude? This dude does a whole report at the end.
Count, so feel free to pause and peruse that information as necessary. It should be noted that given the size of this survey, some error is expected in our data. Each location on the island is constantly changing, and from one day to the next, our enumerator may not have had access to every portion of each municipality. While the Bureau always does everything we can to ensure that the right conclusions are drawn from the data gathered, some inconsequential oversights may have occurred.
And I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing, dude. I was so into the economy of Isle Delfino. Content sip. Yeah, this was sick, dude. Oh, the other video? Yeah, you're talking about this video here. This is actually a really interesting video because it talks about some of the more recent sciences discovered, because the thing about marijuana was that it was really held down, and like we couldn't study it for years because of bureaucracy. So now that it's becoming legal in a lot of places, we're finally able to sit down and study it for the first time, like in our lives. Like we have up until the past decade, we have never been able to actually study the true effects of this on a grand scale. And now finally, like, it just got legalized. I heard like in some parts of Germany, and it's like becoming like accessible for people to actually study, and we can actually learn about the health, more of the health benefits, but even more importantly, the actual negative sides of it. Because my whole life, you know, it was always, it's not bad for you, there's nothing wrong with doing it, when in all reality, I think we all know, especially if you were an everyday user like I was in my 20s, that there is a negative side to it. And there is a conversation that should be had, a healthy and like honest conversation about how it affects people, so that we can grow with it and not just be ignorant to the negative side effects that are clearly there, whether or not you want to acknowledge them or whether or not they affect you specifically, because it's not everybody that it affects. Right? So like, it's like a conversation that it needs to be had, but it's cool that it's being legalized. And I personally will always think it's nowhere near as bad as something like alcohol. I think alcohol is a bit of a more harsh thing that people engage with. I think it gets pretty lighthearted when it comes to that kind of stuff. But it's really cool to know that like we're finally actually researching this substance and being honest about it and talking about it, because we literally couldn't talk about it for the past like 30, 40, 50 decades of history, because everyone, it was all bureaucracy. It was all BS political nonsense. So it's pretty cool. Actually, I really liked that video. I watched that video last night, and it was really nice to just see an honest conversation about, specifically about like heavy users and like how we don't have a ton of like data on like how it affects you 20, 30, 40 years down the road. That's where we don't have research. We don't know how it affects you 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. We only know how it affects you in these intermediate small windows, where it's finally coming to light that like 1 out of every 10 people actually don't have positive experiences with marijuana. And like, this might sound obvious to some people in the room, but I think there's a lot of people who didn't want to acknowledge that like 1 out of 10 people, yeah, like actually a lot of people run into situations where it affects their lives like pretty negatively, and they have to pull away, they have to step away from it, right? Because the truth is that all substances can be abused, even if it's harder to abuse than something like, let's say, alcohol. And so I like having healthy discussions. You know, for those that don't know my history, that are new here, I partook in what we call here sandwiches for a huge chunk of my life, like a huge chunk of it, very regularly. And I finally stepped away from it as a regular thing, and like it's just something I'll like, just like somebody would drink every couple months and have a beer, I will occasionally partake. It's become something that's like very easy to get in Ohio. You can just walk into like any what we would call a head shop, and it's just there and accessible. Like it's like on the over the counter. It's become a very different landscape than it was a decade ago. So it's like, for me, it's something that I no longer have to go to like a shady dealer, some dude who could rob me. I no longer have to talk to like the shady dude in the back alleyway to get it. Not that that's all of our experiences, but I totally have put myself in some pretty precarious situations growing up because of it being, you know, black market. So it's nice that in Ohio, if I want to, I can go to the store, I can pick something up and just like chill. If I want to, I can. But like I said, for me personally, I stepped away because it was affecting my motivation just a little bit too much. And I run a show that requires a lot of motivation, and specifically my voice. When I like about 2 years into streaming, I just noticed that my voice is one of the most important things to my future as a creator. And I realized that I didn't want to do anything to potentially sacrifice the main tool to my show. But at the end of the day, dude, my voice is everything to my broadcast in a weird way, and like me talking, right? So I realized like it was just something that I didn't want to be doing like I was doing at one point in my life. I wanted to kind of open up a different chapter and close one. And again, you know, I left the window open, so to speak, but so that's kind of my journey, and that's why I stepped away. But a lot of people in my life are still pretty frequent users, and they like to get down on the get down. This is definitely a judgment-free zone. Yeah, the decriminalization. That's really what we're talking about. Is it's being decriminalized in a lot of places, and like that's what matters. I got nothing done when I was on it every day. Yeah, you know, and again, it works for some people and it doesn't work for others. This definitely isn't a conversation of like, that's one of the things that have made not being able to study it for years so important. Because we haven't been able to study it, and the studies we have done have been so tough because it affects everybody differently. Dude, you know how many people in my life I knew that could just partake every day and they were the most well put together humans? Anybody else know that dude? Anybody else know that dude in their life that even to this day, dude, they could get down every single day, dude, and they were going to school and they were doing better than me in life. They're making 6 figures a year. They're doing better than I ever could be successfully, and they're killing it, right? So it's like, again, dude, it's not a conversation about like how whatever works for you, baby, you know, live your life, dude, right? For me and my profession as a creator, it wasn't working. I have too much to do, man. I can't spend time staring into space. In all reality, I could keep myself busy with my job every minute of every waking day. Like, I have that kind of job that I might not have kids. I don't have any pets at the moment, but I could tell you right now, if I wanted to, I could keep myself busy with this job every single waking hour of every day. Coming up with new shows, YouTube content. I could be on TikTok. I could be creating content for Instagram. You know what I mean? So once it hit me that like, I don't really have time to do this anymore. I realized like I just don't have time. Dude. Like I wanna spend time in like my relationship. I wanna like focus on like creating memories. Like if I'm gonna spend my free time doing something, I'm gonna spend my free time like adventuring the universe. And like, I don't know, I just kind of changed my priorities up a little bit. So it was just a personal decision. Yo, thank you for the follows, and thanks for the 18 months, Miss Tamlin. How you doing, baby? How you doing, dude? So yeah, it honestly came down to me for just a moment of reflection where I realized like, I want to spend my time focusing on, like, I don't know. I think in life you should never be afraid to open and close doors, you know? I think a lot of it came down to me. A lot of it came down to wanting to just experience new things in life. Like, I'm going to put it as bluntly as possible because I think this is funny and that pun was intended. You want to know what it came down to for me? Was that I lived 10 to 15 years of my life with the sandwich glasses, right? Glasses. I wore 10, 15 years of my life. I had these glasses on and I wore them every day, pretty much all day. That was me, dude. If I wasn't twisting at any given time, you know, I would pull out my packs. I would be with my buddies. I had these glasses on every day. And one day I realized that I wanted to try some other stuff out. Maybe there's other pairs of glasses, right? Like I think there's a lot of people that might be able to relate to this. And if you can, yo, you're ahead, you're an OG, you get me. But it's like, once you're deep enough in the sandwich space, not being under the influence of sandwiches becomes an experience within itself. Does that make sense? Like, it got to the point to where when I wasn't under the influence of sandwiches, that was almost like its own separate experience. I was like, ooh, what's this reality stuff that this is what people talk about? Wait, this is a thing? Like, oh man, people go outside like this? So sober? Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, this is crazy. This sucks. Like, I was like, this is weird, man. And I started liking it a little bit. I was like, actually, dude, like, this is like its own separate thing. Like, this is like its own thing that I could be experiencing this too. It's like completely different than anything I experienced over 15 years. And I started getting a taste of it and I liked it. Like, that's seriously like a good way to describe. I liked it. I was like, dude, I liked feeling really sharp. For me as a content creator, I started feeling really like sharp, and I liked that feeling. I liked the feeling of having my edge as a person. Like, I liked feeling really sharp and like pointed and like organized, because I hadn't really felt that way for like a big chunk of my life. And I was like, dude, this feels like I like this. I'm going to enjoy this for a while. And that's why I made the decision to like take a break and like step away from being an everyday sandwich ingester, right? I was like, this is cool. This is a new chapter of my life. So I'm just going to enjoy this for now. Dude, I don't know what's on the horizon for me. I go with the flow, right? But I know, like, for now, this is rad. And like, this works for my current situation. And like, it's cool. And so I'm kind of digging it right now. So I never found a way to word that so perfectly. That was pretty funny. That's why I love coffee so much. All right. That's how I feel about drinking. I'm not really a guy that goes past 1 or 2 beers. I never have been that guy. I want to go fishing at the beach for some super cucumber. Let's go. Yo, welcome back, Flower Child. Sorry to hear about the ear infection. I love my sandwiches. It works for me in my lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah, it came down to a pretty big lifestyle shift for myself. I found myself enjoying working, and I worked better under the influence of reality versus sandwiches. Like, that's what it came down to. Because they say that once you find a job that you love, you don't work a day in your life. But what they really mean to say is that you work every day of your life, but it doesn't feel like work. Like, that's a better way to word that old saying, I think. It's like, no, you do work every day. In fact, you work more than you usually ever would, because you love what you do so much. So like, it came down to me, like, I loved what I was doing. I didn't feel the need to like not be present for every moment of my job. I wanted to be firing off on every cylinder every day. It really came down to my love for my work. Yeah, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna lean into this. Must be a nice feeling. It is. And it's something I wish for everybody out there. I think about that pretty often. That would be, if I could, that would be something I would definitely wish for every single person that I come across in this journey on life, is to find a thing that feels like a calling. And like, you hear about this throughout your whole life, but then when you actually experience it, it's like, wow, like, this feels like my calling. Like, I should actually have been doing this my whole life. It's a pretty hard thing to put into words, though. It really is. Yo, good to see you, Kels. Thanks for popping back in here, Cozy. Hope you're having a good morning, dude. I don't know if you've been lurking around, I assume. But it's always nice to see you in the chat. Little O Negative, welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm in a yapping mood today. We're coming back to Stardew Valley after a week away, and I couldn't help but yap. I'm in a yapping mood today. Today is basically a second Monday morning show for me, I'm realizing. And I'm okay with that. Nice, I barely got that treasure chest. Beautiful. Totally forgot about a meeting after my car appointment, so I had to dip. Oof, not the meetings, dude. Not the meetings. Yo, Buka's in here yapping with us. Must be a nice feeling. Yeah, I don't mind yapping at all. I try to find a balance between how much I yap without playing the game and how much I yap while playing the game. And my balance is a little bit off today. So for all of those that are here for Stardew content, thank you for your patience. If you've managed to stick around despite the lack of gameplay today, thanks. You're an OG. Feel free to sound off in the chat. Can we get a sound off today? Can we get a sound off today? I want to see an emote that best represents your mood. Or I want to see a hello in the chat if you haven't gotten a proper good morning from me. Let's go ahead and get a nice solid sound off in here. If you haven't already said hello or if you haven't gotten a good morning from me. Who's out there sounding off today? You're a real one. If you stuck around through the yap, even though you're here for the game, and man, I hope people know that you shouldn't feel bad for that. You know, if you're here for the gameplay and you're not necessarily here for the yaps, that's okay. I'm just glad you're here for any reason at all. I really do mean that. So thanks for your patience. It's pretty funny, dude. I'm not a big like viewership guy. Like I don't really pay attention too much to my viewership outside of like my business. Like I pay attention to like my viewership in a way that, because it's all about my business and providing myself room to get opportunities. But like outside of that, I don't really care too much on the day-to-day, because like you have to look at things like from a 30 or a 60 or a 90 day like sphere. You can't really look at things day to day because there's so many different reasons why people will tune in and people won't tune in. But not too long ago, I started paying attention to like micro stuff. Like I would go back and I'd look at a VOD and I'd be like, okay, at 7 hours and 10 minutes into this VOD, I put the controller down and I talked for 20 minutes. And by the end of that 20-minute talking session, this many people left the stream. And I started collecting a ton of data. And you guys, I'll tell you right now, one of the most harmful things I can do for my viewership as a creator is to stop playing the game. I have data collected over these years where like if I stop and yap for 10 to 15 minutes, I will see like 30, 40, 50 fall off, sometimes even more. I've seen like 60, 75 fall off from like a 15-minute conversation. That's all it takes to shake a couple people. That's all it takes. And that's why like I have rigid philosophies about breaks, for example. Dude, when you're a small creator, you don't have the luxury of taking breaks. And if you do, because you put health over anything, which is how it should be, you don't have the luxury. Because if you take even a 5-minute break, you are losing so many people's attention. Like it's over. Like it's so funny. And that's a break. That's you being gone from the show completely. Not even like a situation where I'm here, I'm just talking. Like it, oh dude, yesterday, Katrina, oh, I bet you it was bad. I don't really keep up with it as much as I used to, but I spent about 6 months to a year collecting what I call micro data. And like I would go and I would look at my viewership in these small little windows and I would say, okay, at this point in time, I took a 20-minute break. What happens to my viewership? And then I would look for consistent points, patterns, if you will, across a big sphere of like 30 to 60 to 90 days. And dude, I saw these patterns starting to emerge that were like, if I spend longer than about 5 or 10 minutes talking about one specific topic, that's a big one. Like as a creator, I'm better off if I keep myself on topics for no longer than 5 minutes, depending on the topic. unless the topic's about the game we're playing. That's a big one. It's really interesting, dude. I have some cool data. I really like collecting data as a streamer, and then I compile all this data into what I call streamer seminars, and I try to provide seminars to my creating community for people who are interested in learning more about this. Like, I'm actually currently writing my streaming seminar 102, and I've been compiling data for a while to like talk about what I think the next step of streaming is after my 101. So I do compile all this data, and I try to make it presented for all of you so that you can kind of dig through it and you can see things through my perspective and hopefully grow yourself. Right? That's why you've all heard me talk about how I don't think ads are good for us. I don't think you should be running ads until you're a bigger streamer than me if you're trying to grow. That's all part of my data collection. Right? So where can we find your first one? It's on my YouTube, but it's a private video. You would have to join the Hyrule Gaming Group Discord, and I can send you a link to it. So send me a message, Caesar, and I'll send you a link to it. Send me a message anywhere, and I'll send you a link. What's your go-to drink when it comes to refreshments? All right, we're gonna answer that question in a second. Let me go ahead and check in with the sound off here. Look at this beautiful sound off. Good morning, Sue Blue. And Yum Springa in the building today. Good morning. Welcome to the broadcast. Good afternoon. In fact, it's actually afternoon. Ryan Perp, the perpetrator, coming in. Porky Bird, Nom Nom Noms. Yo, California. Love your name, actually. That's actually super clever. I think we need to use a farm totem today. Yo, Luckness Monster and Tiny Inferno. Quilty Confessions. We still might not even make it home. We better drink. All right, Enchanted Ascari, good morning. Yo, I'm loving the emotes. I'm loving the sound off today. I see the pack. Somebody snuck in HDes packs. Dude, I can't wait. I can open up a pack in like an hour. Cozy? That's funny. You can't say that, Cozy. You can't say that. The casual viewers. Yeah, we do have a wrap it up command. Yeah, we do. Yo, Susha Lucia. There's a grateful tone to your yap today. Aw, I am very grateful to be here today. That's really funny that you called that out. I'm very grateful mood today. I'm just happy to be here with y'all. I think this whole stream today could just be us talking, because like I'm just in the mood to like just talk and hang out. Very much so. Very much so. Is why I started my online eBay shop. I did craft fairs in person, but now I've taken it to the next level. My side hustle is now my main hustle. Nisi Star, dude, can you send me your eBay shop link sometime? Dude, no way. I'd love to see that. What's up, little Moonbeam? Lurked, but every time we go on rants, I just think of the Wrap It Up guy who really wanted to get back to Animal Crossing. That dude was so funny, man. Wrap it up, dude. We're here to see some Animal Crossing, buddy. I had never met somebody who wanted to see Animal Crossing so bad that they got rude about it. That's like the equivalent of like showing up at the park bench and there's like an old dude feeding breadcrumbs to a duck, and you're like, wrap it up, buddy. I want to feed some ducks too. Like, he had this energy, dude. It was so funny. Like we're dude, it's Animal Crossing. Like, chill out. And he's like, dude, wrap it up, dude. We're done. We want to watch some Animal Crossing. And it's like, that's not the right energy to have for a game like Animal Crossing. Like, chill, B. Like, like, it's so funny, dude. It's like I said, it's like the equivalent of like showing up like under the tree where somebody is laying and looking at the clouds and just wasting time, and you show up like, can you scoot over? I'm trying to watch these clouds go by. Like, Like, chill, dude. Like, you're not really missing much, man. All right. Like, what are you expecting, dude? What do you want right now? When AC meets WoW, yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Good to see you, by the way, Diary. He did provide some entertainment. It was a pretty funny moment. So I got a question. It said, what is your go-to drink when it comes to refreshments? Well, truthfully, it's water. It's water. Water is my go-to drink. It kind of actually always has been. I know I'm kind of a weirdo like that. Dang, we missed living off the land yesterday. Rip. Welcome to Living Off the Land. We're back again with another tip for y'all. Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty boring. Now, I do have some other answers though. Ginger ale. I am a ginger ale fiend. Any kind of ginger ale, give it to me. Give me the hard stuff. Give me the light stuff. Give me the Vernors. Give me the Seagrams. Give me the Canada Dry. Give me the half lemonade. Give me the blackberry. I don't care what it is. If it's got ginger and ale in the name, I wants it. So hard to find Vernors. That's unfortunate because Vernors is bomb. My fridge is full of Canada Dry cranberry ginger ale right now. But I've been doing the water thing. We might need to make ourselves a new farm totem. We're out of farm totems. All right, we got ourselves some more stuff to smoke here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. We should probably get some new recycling machines. I think we're definitely at that point. Oh no, we forgot to do Game of the Year stuff. Let's do it right now. After this day in game, let's do a Game Awards stuff. I would love to stop and do that here. I'm clearly in the mood to yap. Nothing like ginger ale to break me out of my lurk. Back to my cave. Yo, enjoy the cave lurk, dude. Yeah, I was gonna do it before we started Stardew, but I got distracted. Yo, Calico. Oh, did you pop in the chat? Were you in Twitch jail today? Yeah, I'm a little bit scatterbrained, so if I missed you coming in, I'm very scatterbrained today. I'm just having one of those scatterbrainy kind of days. It happens. What's up, young Kazi? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Dude, we have so much road to go through. All right. Making that good row money. Making that good row money. The good stuff. Sammy Dot, you're still in the same mindset. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, we gotta water these crops. All right, here we go. Appreciate you, Raina B. Yeah, having a lot of fun today. They did a tweet about voting that had 3 different spell errors. That's unfortunate. The only thing people are already getting up in arms about the Game Awards this year, and it's not even started. It's pretty funny. So the thing that people are pissed about this year is that they're allowing DLCs to be a part of the running for Game of the Year. They said that they feel like DLCs are pretty much a lot of ways their own game, and that those should be allowed for Game of the Year. And a bunch of people are like, that doesn't make any sense. I kind of agree. I don't think that's fair, but I've already given up on the Game Awards making any sense. So I'm not really too taken back by all this, because if you've been watching the Game Awards for the actual awards, I think you're already missing the point of the Game Awards. So yeah, that's your fault. Like, no offense, but like, if you watch the Game Awards for the actual Game Awards, then really you're not watching the Game Awards for the reason why you should be watching the Game Awards. Because the reason you watch the Game Awards is so that you could come to twitch.tv/Hylian at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard on December 12th this year, and you can watch a live reaction and commentary over the Game Awards. And that's really why we watch the Game Awards, because it's a lot more fun together. No, it's about the game reveals, dude. It's all about the reveals, man. We're there to see new games get revealed. Like, that's all. It's sick. Yeah, and for the Bill Clinton kid. My unorthodox rabbi, Bill Clinton. Oh, and the flute guy. And the flute guy. Yes, dude, the flute guy. Hopefully the flute guy makes his return again for 3 years in a row. Yeah, it's going to be a blast. We'll be watching the Game Awards live. It's going to be a blast, dude. Y'all aren't going to want to miss it. It's seriously a lot of fun. How you doing today, Rabbi Gucci? No, I won't be checking out Fields of Mystria update this time around. I'm going to wait for the next, or hopefully the full release into 2025. Mostly just have too much going on. I kind of want to check it out. I just don't have the time right now. But maybe into December we'll make the time. Just don't have the time right now. There's just a lot of games on my schedule. And P.S. It's their fault for releasing the update around the release of Stardew on consoles. Sincerely, an overwhelmed streamer. That's your fault. You should have thought that one through. Maybe we'll get some good game trailers. I think we will. There's always at least one really dope trailer or reveal. I think so. I think there's always at least one like really good reveal or something. I think it'll be a good Game Awards. I think that the Game Awards are super cool. At this point, they're kind of prestigious. And like really the only problem with the Game Awards that I've ever seen is their need to make them mainstream. Now, I understand the way of the world. And the more mainstream they are, the more popular they are, the more money they make, the more guests, more game companies that can get invited, and the more game companies that want to reveal their games. So in a lot of ways, we win from the fact that the Game Awards are getting more popular. But I also kind of feel like the Game Awards deserve to be more grounded than they are. I don't really care about having actors and actresses that have nothing really to do with video games doing all the reveals and stuff. I think that gaming was never... I don't think gaming looks good in that light, and I don't think gamers want that. It's almost as if they're doing that for the people who don't play video games, to give them something to do for the night. It's almost as if the Game Awards are now trying to sell to people who watch the Grammys but don't watch movies. They just watch it because it's the Grammys. And it's like, I don't think gaming ever needed to go in that direction. And that's just me. So that is my only criticism of the Game Awards, is that I really don't think it ever needed to go in that direction. But I do know the history, and I do understand why it went in that direction. I get it. And I still love the Game Awards no matter what. I think they're super cool. I think what Jeff Keighley does is an amazing thing for gaming. And at this point, I can't help but wonder if we would even have anything like the Game Awards without Jeff Keighley. I honestly think that this dude is a national treasure of gaming and of the gaming community. I think he's doing everything he can to bring us together every year. I think he's doing everything he can to like really make gaming something special for us all. And you know, I can't blame him for doing his best to like, you know, make gaming a little bit more of a phenomenon, a more popular thing, right? I just would have preferred a little bit more of a grounded show, but you know, as all things get popular, they must get watered down. It's kind of the nature of the beast. Feels like they're trying to cater a little too much to non-gamers. Exactly. So that doesn't feel good as a gamer, but if it pays the bills and it keeps the show going, how could I ever criticize them for that? Which is why this isn't a criticism. It's mostly just me sharing my thoughts, right? I could never criticize them for doing what is right for gaming as a whole. And that's continued growth and hype and more eyes and more money being funded into these things. And I think I'm just more about gaming as a whole than anything else. I just want to see gaming thrive. All right, we're gonna put some fertilizer down and hopefully get more trees to grow so that we can get more wood. Nice. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Game Awards. It just would have been nice if like it stayed a little bit more niche and grounded. Literally broke off to do his own thing because he didn't feel like it was for gamers. And when I see things being put into his show that it goes against his core mission, yeah. And again, I can't help but feel for Keighley because I think it came down to like we saw the downfall of E3, and I think it kind of shook gaming to its core. And a lot of people thought, well, what's the solution? What do we do about this? And I think maybe it was the right answer to start catering to those who aren't interested in gaming. Because maybe that's what it's going to take to bring back E3 and that energy, right? And it's not even about bringing back E3, but you get what I'm saying, like that vibe, that energy. Yeah, it's a tough position, yeah. I'm updating Stardew. Ooh, Lulu, you're getting in. So yeah, Lulu, to go back to your question, the whole reason that fish ponds are a thing is for a product called a roe, and for the idea of reproducing fish. But you need to know that with the most recent update for Stardew Valley, they did something really special with fish ponds. And that is now you can put legendary fish in them. And this is a way to make money. So just to kind of follow up on what I said earlier, I know you missed my original explanation, which is totally okay, dude. You can't be here for everything I talk about. But yeah, the fish ponds are interesting. They're not very normal, Lulu. They're not really like a normal way to play the game. I think they're kind of a side thing. You don't really need to use fish ponds. But if you would like a kind of a unique experience, they're pretty cool. And the best fish to put in them is the lava eel, the super cucumber, the sturgeon, and anything legendary. And saying this just reminded me that's what we wanted to put in the freaking fish pond, was we wanted another lava eel. All right, looks like we're gonna have to go craft another fish pond. Yeah, Jeff's job is incredibly tough. I agree. It's cool though. I don't know. Part of me feels like no matter what happens, there's always going to be somebody to take the torch to make gaming and to bring us all together, like with something like the Game Awards. But right now, I feel like we have a lot to be grateful for as gamers for what Jeff Keighley does and the Game Awards, even if it's not perfect. I think we have a lot to be thankful for. And I hope that in the future that we still have at least one major event every year that like really brings us all together. I hope at least one a year, because growing up in the E3 era, like I think it brings us gamers together, man. I think it's so special. It brings us together. It kind of sits us all down and lets us all get excited about something. You see, not everyone can be excited about Nintendo Directs. Not everyone can be excited about PlayStation State of Plays. Not everyone can be excited about Microsoft Directs. Not everyone can be excited about the PC Game Show, the Wholesome Games Direct. These are all individual directs that are really cool, but they don't bring us all together as gamers. But you know what does? The Game Awards. The Game Awards do. They bring us together, dude. And even if it's just so you could sit there and cheese on it, you're still watching and we're still together. You know, and we don't have like a ton of that nowadays. We really don't. There's a couple other ones that are out there that are totally worth mentioning, like the Tokyo Game Show. That brings a lot of people together because it is more international than just Tokyo. But in a lot of ways, I think the Game Awards are special, man. It's such a cool thing to do. That's why I love doing it on stream, because it brings us all together on stream and it provides some pretty interesting content. A way for us all gamers to kind of get excited about this year's announcements. My beard do be bringing people together. The beard is just, it just does that, you know? Please never remove this emote. I'll do my best not to remove the emote. I'll do my best. It's nice to have a huge gaming community meetup where we acknowledge the stuff we've all been loving regardless of who gets the award, right? Ooh, look at that. 12,000 off of the fish row. Look at that, dude. That's some cash. All right, let's go ahead and do the Game Awards. This won't take too long for those that are here for Stardew. Let's do the Game Awards stuff. I actually have it pulled up and everything.